Hi everybody, this is AJ Grossman, and I'm not going to be on camera tonight because I have a really nasty cold, so I don't look so presentable. But I asked the question of what does this painting and Cirtasolv have in common? So let me see if I can zoom in or out on this one, this camera. This was a painting I did many, many years ago, and it's acrylic, and I'm going to move in on it. People always ask me, how do I get this effect? And they're looking at this unique kind of mottled kind of paper. And I always tell them that I make the paper. And they're always amazed when they ask me how I make it, and I tell them it's just basic magazines and a product called Cirtasolv. So Cirtasolv you can find, and here it is. This is an old one, and it's found in the health food store, Whole Foods. Not only that, but I clean my whole house with it when I dilute it. I love the smell of oranges. But this product helps lift the color off the magazine. So right now we're in my studio, and I generally paint in encaustic. So we're gonna pan around and show you a little bit of. I don't really work with this anymore, but here's my encaustic table where I do work. And there's my encaustic pots. And here you're going to see samples of all the different papers. So I'm going to tilt the camera and hopefully it'll work. And you can see that they get all of these interesting layers in them in colors. And I like dark personally, so you end up getting these amazing features that you can never ever reproduce. And if I actually fall in love with something, I will make a photocopy so I always have it. But I find that when I try to collage in the photocopy papers, they're a little too thick. So these are just really interesting, and you never know what's going to come out, and sometimes I tear them apart. Here's one that's all bright colors and greens. And you can see it's just a sheet of magazine paper. And here, I'll show you something else. You can see that this was an ad for Flower Bomb perfume. And I see I have a glare on this, but you can also see what it looked like when I applied the Cirtasolv to it and got the speckle effect. So those are very, very interesting shapes. And they kind of look like what I do when I'm working in the encaustic. In fact, the one I showed you on the wall, I love the paper so much that I actually made a photocopy of it just so I would always have it. But I'm going to show you, and I'm going to set the camera down of how to do that. So I'll be right back. Hi everybody, I know my camera went down, so I'm not sure what got recorded, but we'll try again. I have my Cirtasolv out. I have my brush. Any brush will do. And I have my Harper's Bazaar or Vogue, and if those who knew me or know me know I was on 7th Avenue, and I am a fashion princess. So, but these actually are really great types. Whatever paper they printed on, it really works. Christmas catalogs work really well, so during the holiday times, save them. The Cirtasolv comes with this little sealer on it. I actually had a little smaller hole in there. I don't know if you could see it. I like to keep the hole there. Sometimes it's easier so not a lot pours out. Otherwise, you can pour it in a bowl, and I do that sometimes as well. But for this, we're just going to sprinkle it on. So straight from the bottle, I just pour on the Cirtasolv, just like that. And I'm going to take my brush, and I'm just going to maneuver it. And I'm sure that you can see that the ink is lifting up immediately off the paper. It's just taking it up. Now, if the paper has a lot of black or dark on it, you are going to get a lot of dark. So I'm just mushing it, and I tend not to take it out of the book. And then I'll take a piece of saran wrap. This is that other kind of saran wrap. I don't know. I'll crunch it up a little, and I'm just going to push it down, and I'll close the book. And I'll do that for several sheets of paper. And I'll go to another page, and if I have enough on here, usually on the brush it's enough to manipulate the color off of it. I used to work on a big glass table, and I used to cover the table with Cirtasolv, and I would take the papers and I would just, call it smear, I would just rub it along the glass panels and do it. You will start getting, your brush will start getting dirty because it does have a tendency to get that way. So you can clean it. You could just take another piece of your Saran, and this is the press and seal one. It doesn't work as well, but that's what I have in my house right now. And I will do it. Now sometimes I'll just lift it up right away, and you can see you'll get an effect. And then I'll continue going. Sometimes I will go back and decide, I don't know. I'll leave it like that. And sometimes I'll just close the whole book, and I'll have almost like every third page covered in it, and they'll actually blend against the other ones. And if you can see that, that's how I start getting all this spotted look and the different things. So I'm closing the book, I'm opening it, and a lot of times I'll get to something that I like, and then I'll just leave it. Because a lot of times I'm not using her face in anything, I'm just cutting out a little section and using it, and you get very, very interesting techniques. Now for the painting that I showed you earlier, what I did was, it's very hard, I used matte medium with a little color to make like a translucent gel, and I watered it down. Sometimes the paper is very hard to get on the canvas. So what I did was I would just dip it in water. Dip it in water like you used to do like a decal, lay it on my canvas, with my fingers push it out, and then finish it over with gloss. So that is the whole trick to people when they ask me, what do you use Cirtasolv for, and how do you get those interesting pages of paper. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me at aj@ajgrossman.com, and I'll be glad to show you other tricks that I know of how to create interesting things with interesting household products. Bye now.